and thanks for the,
Thank you for your help, I appreciate it. You guys have a good evening.
Yeah.
Thank you, folks. Thanks for your help. Thank you. I'll see you. See you. Good luck. Good luck. Okay. Let's say goodbye.
We'll see you. We'll see you.
did Joyce give you a form to fill out for anything that we make?
No.
Anytime we have a motion and a second, vote on it, I'll give you a form.
Yeah. I'm jotting it down right now, but I'll see what she's got. I'll find an old one and I'll format a new one or something, but I'll have something to bring.
So those forms, I can get those down to county road?
Because I guess I'm gonna need a stack of them.
Okay, everybody got this statement about the new flood mapping. What they're asking is that we just review this information. Has anybody had the opportunity to look at the new flood maps? They are in the town hall. And they also are at the Shandaken watershed office in 28. They, of course, expanded the areas of the flood zones. They've done more substantial studies on a lot of areas that they hadn't done before.
We'll see you guys.
And what I've noticed is a lot of areas are now in the flood zone that were not, of course, because they've expanded it. A lot of people have now have higher base flood elevations, meaning that if they're going to build, they've got to have that first floor being the basement floor above that base flood elevation. But a lot of people have the opposite too with the new maps. They were worse off before than now. So just depends on what area they're in. So there's a lot more areas now in the Woodland Valley that have a significant difference. Up in Chichester, Silver Hollow, there's significant differences. And along Route 28, towards Mount Tremper and Mount Pleasant, there's a significant difference. So I'm not sure the importance of our vote, yes or no, in passing this FEMA map, because it's going to be accepted anyway.
You want me to take the most developable land that can be developed in the town out of development with these new floodplain maps. Want to cripple this town.
What is our obligation? Because it says right in here that you can't appeal, they want to know if we want to appeal the flood maps, but then it says you can't, where is it? You can't just say that it never flooded here before, you need scientific proof. I mean, what can we do as a planning board to change that, or what do we have to do?
Well, if we see, if we take a look at the flood maps and we see an area that's obviously not correct, we know that it's never flooded even with Irene and just obviously something wrong with the elevations. We can contact the town hall, the two people in the town right now that are the flood specialists that go to is Rob Stanley and Eric, town highway superintendent. then go to them and show them what you found.
Right.
And,
Because my property never flooded, even in '96 when we had that big flood that devastated the whole area, it never flooded, but in 2011 it did. And now, and it did because of the construction that was done, the berm that was put up, the water just turned back onto my property instead of going the way it used to go. So we realized that our elevations are not correct because they are measuring from where the 8 foot of stone building. They're not measuring from where the stream used to
They're not taking measurements from the historic stream.
be. Right.
That stream moved over 80 feet. That put me into the floodplain, like this.
Yeah.
All right, stream ran here, it's running over here now. So all of those elevations they got,
They're not
they're
right.
gonna screw everybody.
They're not right.
That was questioned, and they still, there has no answer.
We went to a seminar again, told them the same thing.
well, the only thing we can do is
And I don't know how historically I can prove anything.
I did, may I speak, Mr. Chairman? I just got this moments ago, as all of us did, and just glanced over it quickly, but I see something here that concerns me a little, and it's just exactly what Alan just said. They say that it cannot be based on the principle of, quote, "it never flooded here before," then a period. FEMA will require scientific proof, study in parentheses, that the map is incorrect. Well, I know many, many people in this town that are financially not able to pay for engineers, architects, or surveyors to come in and do that. And these people really don't have a say if that's the case. So is there some money that was allocated to people within a certain income or below that income that might be able to get some subsidy to protect their investment and protect their house?
something that we need to,
You know,
so one
so,
of the things we need to jot down here.
yeah, because, I mean, there are families that have been here hundreds of years and never had a flood, and all of a sudden they could be, I'm not certain, but could be in the floodplain and just don't have the availability to prove different.
Well, I think the only thing you could scientifically prove is that the elevation is wrong. We can't say where they come up with the water level. I mean, that's based
That's what
on
they
all
did.
sorts of hydraulic studies. But the only thing you could prove is that the elevation is wrong.
Right.
Because that, you can just go out and measure if it's wrong.
You see this, Don, this kind of pertains to what we were talking about with a different case. There's no base flood elevation, lowest floor at least 3 feet above highest adjacent grade. What's the adjacent grade? How far out is it?
Right next to the building.
Right next to the building.
I would like to make a suggestion, if I might, to the board, that at our next workshop, we have the floodplain maps here, and we look over them collectively and go through this in the interim and be prepared to, you know, see what we can find out that might help some people. I know that there were many calls made to people already saying that their house is up on the side of the mountain, and they were told, well, that map hasn't been adopted yet, and it will be straightened out at the time, but if these maps are, right now, the maps that we're going to be using, I think that we have to give it a good look over.
Yeah, because there's only a 90-day period to appeal this,
Yeah. Yeah,
back after the second public notice.
right. Well, there hasn't been, is there a public notice? There hasn't been any public notice yet. No. This is not a public notice, this is strictly to the board members. So Don, if you can make an arrangement to have the maps here for our workshop, and we can look it over and,
It would also help, I think, if these floodplain administrators were here also,
Yeah.
Eric or Rob, to explain the process, as opposed to us just looking at maps. But
Yeah.
I know the map of my immediate neighborhood, but the rest of the town, I don't really know that much about. Your property or his property.
Would you like me to email Eric and Rob and request their presence at the next workshop meeting?
It says the public announcement is made already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is public notice, because if this is public notice,
Well, it says the ad's been placed in the Freeman.
yeah, but I'm saying the clock started already?
Yeah,
Or
Yeah, they
just-
said we
Yeah.
have 3 months from now. That's
Yeah.
what I'm reading here.
Yep, from June 9th.
So, okay, well, that's not giving us much time to review it, if our meeting is next month.
Now, I haven't really read the letter, but do we have to review it? Planning board?
That's what I had.
And it
Or
says here that
reapprove it,
after that, we have 6 months to adopt the official map.
I think the we though, regards the town board, not us. I don't know, well, that's something else I don't know.
This obviously came from the supervisor to ask us to review it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
but I mean, do we approve it, or?
well, I think,
We'll give our recommendation.
It says to all town and planning board. So it's the town's in
They did have a public meeting on this at the Emerson not too long ago.
order.
So they had that public meeting, so it's.
All right, we'll see what we can do. If we can get them to come back.
That meeting was almost a year ago.
The one that we went to.
That was at the Emerson, right?
That was just informative.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have that stuff at our workshop meeting.
Okay.
The thing on the agenda is the attorney for the project. Someone has said we already hired somebody, but we have not hired anyone yet. So this is the meeting that we're gonna vote on an attorney.
he didn't come tonight, I thought he was gonna come tonight.
No, he met with Chazen to see where they were at. Name is Rich Olson from Mackin. McCabe and Mack out of Poughkeepsie. Since someone had mentioned last time that he didn't seem to have as much didn't represent municipalities as much as Jennifer had, our first choice. So I looked into it, and actually, I found that he's actually got more than Jennifer did. Jennifer represented more of the other side than actually even municipalities, but she did represent municipalities also. She was very good. But I think we're fortunate if we can get this Rich Olson. He's a deputy town attorney in Poughkeepsie for 10 years, handling all planning and zoning matters for the town. Served as deputy town attorney in Hyde Park for 6 years, doing planning and zoning. Represented the town of Pleasant Valley Zoning Board, the town of Marlborough Zoning Board, and the town of New Paltz Zoning Board as special counsel on different projects. Currently represents the village of Rhinebeck Board of Trustees as well as their planning and zoning boards, and the village board of trustees in the village of Red Hook. So, this is why he came highly recommended to us by Rising's office, and Jennifer recommended him also for Grant Tool. So I would like to,
Were you happy with him? when you spoke?
yeah, I met with him and showed him everything. He, now, the cost is $200 an hour, and that's what we pay the town attorney and the attorney for the zoning board. He's satisfied with that, and he doesn't feel as though anything would be coming from any other source than the escrow. So,
No matter what we ask him?
that seems like that's what we told him. I mean, I'm sure we'll have to be careful that we don't ask him, legal advice on all kinds of things outside the project, but, all right, so. Has anyone else had any discussion on that? And as I said, I think we're fortunate to meet this guy.
Good. Sounds like he's experienced and can do what we needed him, so.
Okay, so, a motion to go ahead and you want to hire him and send a letter to the town board as such.
You making a motion? I'll make a motion to hire Rich Olson as the attorney for the review of the Crossroads project.
I'll second it.
Now, we just recommending him to the town board?
Yeah.
They are.
That they make a motion.
Yeah.
Only because they handle the escrow.
Yeah.
account.
It says a motion to recommend for hire. Okay. Roll call vote. John Brewer?
Yes.
Art?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Joanne?
Yes.
Alan?
Yes.
Cliff?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, as I said, he did meet with Chazen this afternoon, around noontime, I guess, find out where they're at. And they would like to come, at our next workshop meeting, and just discuss the highlights that we would be concerned about. That would be Chazen, company.
Are you saying Chase?
Chazen.
Chazen?
C-H-A-Z.
And
Yeah.
Chazen Company?
And you're up at the spell.
Depends on which one.
The project.
The attorney over
so, next month, we will begin our review of this project. So, look over all the material you have, and any questions for the engineers, the
Yes.
attorney,
Uh-huh.
we'll begin to ask them, so make a list. Of course, we're not gonna be getting any final things, any sort from the engineer until we get those final findings from the DEC. But we're gonna start the ball rolling here as far as what we're
Looking at
concerned
it.
with.
Okay.
Anything else?
I have something that I want to, I don't know how many members know or read in the paper that the city of New York is allocating funds to start to buy up houses in the towns. So, and they announced $15 million so far. And
I thought they stopped and discontinued.
this is brand new. And, you know, if an average house is $200,000, that allows them to buy 75 homes, which will then be taken off the tax rolls, converted to grass, and totally upset any planning that we would have, say, in the town of Pine Hill, if there's anybody that sells out. I mean, your next door neighbor is gonna be gone with grass, and I think this is like, and they said they're gonna ask approval of the towns. Well, I don't know what that means. But, I think this is gonna be very dangerous for our area.
Absolutely.
Is it just money or does it change the rules?
That's the point. What you're saying is they're coming forward now offering money to buy up houses in town. According to the memorandum of agreement that was signed with this town, with New York City, they cannot purchase any property in this town that has a dwelling on it. They cannot legally buy a property in this town that has a dwelling on it. Okay?
Is that only with, the town of Shandaken, that's the, or with
That's-
all the
that's-
towns?
That was the agreement that was made in the MOA in '93. The town signed on to it with the city. They could not buy any piece of property that was
Less than 10
under 10 acres, or they could not buy a piece of property that had a dwelling on it.
Okay, so I guess what they're doing is coming back and wanting to change that.
They're gonna have to change the law then.
Wait, they want to change the parameters of this?
Yes,
Or,
it's
Yeah,
a
of
different
the
fund.
MOA.
It's a different fund from their fund to buy vacant land.
Which is competing with FEMA buying.
Well, no, they said that they don't want to compete with FEMA. They want to buy the ones that FEMA is rejecting, or that implied that.
What
But
is
they're-
the criteria for them to buy houses?
Flood, well, safety, supposed safety. Supposedly, they want to buy it based on taking people out of a dangerous environment.
so I'm not really clear, how is that different from what FEMA's doing?
Right.
FEMA's more in the floodway, I think.
It has, the newspaper article didn't spell it out, but I think it's the start of another problem.
This was the.
Yes, definitely.
Catch them out news. I think it's the start of another problem.
Well, let's,
So then what does that mean? That the MOA is what, a null and void document?
I think they're gonna come back to the towns to try and change it.
what year was that?
93.
You have it at home, don't you?
Huh?
Oh, we have it at home?
They got a copy of the town hall
Oh, yeah,
memorandum.
town hall has it.
Okay,
So
well-
according to this, is this across the board to all towns within New York State, or are they targeting specific
No,
towns?
in the watershed
In the
area.
watershed, okay, that makes sense.
So as a planning board, let's look into this
Yes.
as much as possible and put together a letter once we get all the facts,
Mhm.
okay?
You can't much go by what's in the newspaper, though.
True.
Right, in terms of facts.
Yes.
Bob
So
Kelp
we're
has,
gonna investigate them, that's what you just said?
yeah, let's
Yeah, we
investigate, let's all look at the facts of that, and
Yeah, something like
when we get all that together, we'll discuss it at our workshop meeting next month, and we'll put together a letter. Of our opinion on the matter. Okay, Mr. Kelp has the report from the county.
Well, I told your secretary last month there was a training session at the county that would have been good for all of you to go to. It was on using the computer where you could have done all of these floodplain overlays and everything on top of it. And it would be a good tool for this board because then you don't have to leave this desk to go out and do site visits. You could do it right on the computer.
that. On a laptop.
Okay?
And
There's-
let's reiterate, that was last month's secretary.
Yeah,
Not this secretary. I notified her on Friday, but she was,
Is
it
that
was
online
too.
or with it, this?
Huh?
Is that online or with it?
Well, his part of it here, that you guys can have this here.
It's
She'll have-
online, though.
I'll give it to her,
Go
but
to
it's
the
online.
You need a very fast internet connection.
Yeah.
I went online and it didn't work.
It
Well,
was the,
they're working on it. They're
also
working
you-
on it.
for the
Um,
laptop.
Is this?
I think with some kind of persuasion, we could probably get them from the county to come up here and give you guys a lesson on it. But I'll talk to them.
You're talking about the parcel view?
Yeah.
Program?
And it's got all the overlays, it gives you all the overlays, flood overlays, everything on it.
Wetland.
Flood surge, wetlands, everything.
Can you overlay the
Topography.
old map with the new map? That's,
Yep,
Yeah.
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 Now, the other thing,
Ulster County Maps with GIS system?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And like Alan said, it's really fast.
I tried to.
Wi-Fi.
If you want, I can bring the laptop in. I don't know how busy we're gonna be next month for the workshop. Anyway, I can bring my laptop in and show everybody how it works.
Yeah, or I have the laptop
Well, if we're
upstairs.
reviewing
that's-
this, it would be a good time.
And
Yeah.
I have the GIS on my laptop also.
Okay, and the other thing I want to talk to you about is your educational credits. You're required to have 4 hours a year, okay? Now, well, Joanne and I went, we got 2 hours credit, but the thing I want to bring up to you is the county, on the county level, they give the county members that go to the board meetings 15 minutes training credit for every meeting they attend. So if you guys are holding 12 meetings a year, that'll give you, what, 15 minutes a session?
An hour and a half.
It'll give you like an hour and a half training without you having to leave this